You've called him seductively sick, I think you said.
Is that what I said?
You did say that. However, you don't get to ride the sandworm.
I know.
Like, do you have FOMO? Like, do you
Absolutely, I lose sleep at night.
These guys. Zendaya, I'm going to start with you because I needed more of you from the first movie, and you came through, and now we get to know Chani as someone who's like present, wisdom from instinct, and is a fierce warrior and falls in love on the battlefield as an equal. What were the parts of this love story that really moved you the most?
I think for me, it was that it wasn't given, and that they had to earn it. And we, as actors, as creators, you know, behind the scenes, also had to earn it. You know, we're like, with everything going on, how do we somehow build a love story that we feel is meaningful and honest and true, and not just like thrown together because we need, you know, we just need it. You know, it has to be earned and worthy of this movie. And so for me, it was fun to dig out because I think it's conflicting for her. It's painful. It's like there's constantly like two voices coming from her mind and heart, trying to figure out what to do. And I think love ultimately is like almost getting in her way, you know. But it's not something she can ignore either.
Tell me about reintroducing Gurney and, you know, and being able to reunite with someone who means so much to him in Timothée.
I think it was great to be able to, you know, everybody thought that he was gone after the last movie.
Yeah.
Not everybody, not me.
Not on screen.
Not
If
me.
it doesn't happen on screen, it hasn't
Doesn't happen on, right, exactly, right. It doesn't exist if it hasn't happened on screen. But I love the idea of introducing, because it was kind of improvisational the way even though I had written the song and then Hans had done the music and all that, we were there and we just didn't know how we were going to reveal them. So we were improvising and things were working and weren't working, but I think it turned out exactly the way that it should have. But I think that moment of seeing Paul for the first time was my favorite moment. It's my favorite moment because it feels very naked for me, from my selfish point of view.
Yes.
And I like seeing Gurney like that, naked, raw.
But it also is like, it's an anchor for him.
Yeah.
To reach out at each other, really.
And he's been spending the last 9 months kind of spiraling, thinking that he lost that family. And like, who am I without this family? Who am I when I'm not in war, when I'm not protecting something? And then you see him, you know. Yeah, it's nice.
So Timothée, hearing that, your character sees everything, but Chani sees Paul as he is, in the moment, without the mythology, without the hype. So how does that help him as he struggles with embracing this prophecy?
Well said. I think at first it helps him a lot, and I think she sees him for who he is, not for who he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think she holds him accountable, and as he put it, like the relationship is earned, and I feel like he's coming from a privileged background. Now he's thrust into a crazy circumstance based on personal tragedy and amongst the people that aren't his own. But at some point in the movie and the story, I feel like he has to choose between, you know, responsibility, in one sense, fate, and this sort of fantasy, beautiful love life he's embarked on. And eventually, the Chani figure is in contrast and opposite to what is called to him, and that's where the sort of unrequited love comes in. But otherwise, like you said at first, I think it's a very healthy dynamic.
I will say that the flirtation over sandwalking moves is adorable.
You can relate to that.
I went back to my hotel room and I did try to sandwalk a little bit, and I wondered if it would become a TikTok dance craze. So we'll see.
Who knows what the kids will do.
Let's talk about like the family of actors. You recently referred to Timothée as a stud for his birthday. You wished him a happy birthday.
Stud. I did. You're right.
And so I want to talk about him taking on.
Okay.
Do you not mean it anymore?
No, I do. I do. I don't take it back. Yeah.
To take on this role, like of the Messiah, and you know, his performance for you, and from the first to the second film.
I think in the beginning he was so innocent coming into this, and I think he was so. he was so unsure about doing something so big.
Yeah.
I think in our minds, people who have been around for a while, like me and Javier and people like that, were like, you know, it's not a bigger movie, a smaller movie, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't think of that when you're actually working. You know what I mean? You realize that later, or you realize that before. But I think Timothy's like, what do you do? What do you do differently?
Right.
And he was so kind of adolescent about it that he was perfect. It was a perfect parallel with where he was at in the movie. Whereas now he's more of a veteran. You know, he's got Dune that's come out, he's got Wonka that's come out. So I think you sense that in the second movie. You see a guy at just the cusp of maturity, and then
What a parallel
far beyond.
in the storytelling.
Yeah, and I think it felt that way on the set too.
I'm Canadian,
Yeah,
so
you were.
thank you.
You said it. That's all I know. Not that you're acting like it.
I say this because
Yeah.
the director you've worked with now for 3 films,
It's Canadian.
Denis Villeneuve, is Canadian, Quebecois from Canada, and you obviously have a really great working connection. This is a labor of love for him. He came to our screening last night and was like, I
he
never
did?
left Arrakis. That's what he said.
I never left Arrakis. That's great.
You've called him seductively sick, I think you said.
Is that what I said?
You did say that. However, you don't get to ride the sandworm.
I know.
Like, do you have FOMO? Like, do you have...
Absolutely. I lose sleep at night.
These
guys.
You didn't have enough.
I'll never forgive
enough.
myself for not getting on
Work
that
with.
sandworm. Yeah, no.
It was the sandworm that was
experience really,
missing.
yeah,
I
fell
needed
short
fade.
because of that. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
imagine that. The shimmering head just riding the top, glinting
Glinting
in
in
the
the moonlight.
distance.
When I talk to Denis, I will say your movie is missing one thing.
Yeah,
However,
thank you.
can we talk about you and Denis, Josh and Denis, and this creative partnership?
We have a good thing going. I mean, we did Sicario. I almost didn't do Sicario. That would have been a massive mistake. But he did something back in Sicario that nobody does. Every director manipulates an actor that he wants in a role by saying, we're going to grow this role, or we're going to make the role this, or with this and that. Denis is one person that's actually done that. So I got there, and then he was like, okay, let's sit down, let's write, let's talk about this, like that. And he was super into the work, but at the same time, he's not stuffy. You know, he's fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of jokes going back and forth. There's a lot of poking, a lot of prodding. But when it comes down to it, his, I don't know, I think his expectation is high.
Yeah.
You know, for what the work needs to be,
Yeah.
and then we can have fun. And I
can tell.
feel like I'm the same way. So we have a brotherhood in that.
Hearing some of the things that Timothy has said about you, how he admires your acting, and how you are the, what's the basketball analogy here? You are the Kobe to his LeBron? I don't know what was that, the GQ article? Yeah. Anyway, it was masters meeting each other, masters of the sand.
I don't know how to follow that.
I didn't say that, by the way.
What do I say? You know, the first film was incredible. What Zendaya and Timothy and the entire cast, and what, you know, spearheaded by Denis, was just brilliant. So I was incredibly honored to join for this one, and but like what you were just saying earlier, it always, when you care a lot, there's always nerves involved, you know. So I was nervous before, but I always find that that's kind of like free energy, you know, because you want to do your best, and you want to leave no stone unturned, and so the nerves get you up in the morning, and you don't need coffee when your heart's pounding first thing in the morning, and the work is the only thing that makes the fear go away for me. So it just made me just obsess about it and work as hard as I could, and then I showed up, and you both were so kind and welcoming, and
we bullied him for the first week.
just
No kidding.
bullied me.
You know how to break them in.
Yeah, exactly.
Initiation.
Hazing rituals.
Welcome to Arrakis.
Like the video? Then hit the button, or better yet, drop us a comment. Then check out our latest videos here. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button here for more celebrity interviews and entertainment news.